my anxiety was on 100 because a part of me was like, just pull the trigger, just do it. But then the other part was terrified.
What new obstacles do you face now, especially being a Middle Eastern woman in today's society who's in this industry of entertainment?
I don't remember what I was before Ramina Rated, if that makes sense. That life I know is like, it's gone, it's done. Like,
It sounds like external events really do get to you.
oh yeah. I spiraled into a depression. I gained like 30 pounds in like 2 months.
That's our land, we belong to it. Great, how are we gonna get it back with muskets and sticks?
I have no response to that. And I can't stand when I feel like I'm playing a game.
But that's what this is, though. This is a game.
I hate that. I'm not gonna get emotional right now. I'm getting emotional. Yo. I'm sorry, I didn't expect that to happen. Guys, we gotta take a break. I can't do it.
Today I have with me a multifaceted comedian who can do it all. First, she started cutting her teeth with just comedy sketches. Now she's a stand-up comedian. Not only can she make people laugh, but she can also make your heart melt with songs that she is a very talented singer. To me, Mrs. Worldwide, done shows in Australia, done shows all over the United States, just came back from a Canadian tour. This is Ramina Odishu, aka Ramina Rated. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Happy to be back.
Yeah, well, we're also back in Chicago. I haven't been here for a very long time. Very nice city that I keep hearing Assyrians talk about. Besides the traffic, everything else has been all right.
Yeah, besides the traffic.
But last time we spoke, I asked you a question about which Assyrians would you like to work with or collaborate with one day? And Paul Elia was on that list. The last time we spoke was last September of 2022. And now, all of a sudden, I see you're opening for him.
Yeah.
How did you make that connection? How did that end up becoming a reality?
So me and my friend went to one of his buddies' comedy shows in downtown Chicago. Paul was producing his special that they were filming that night. So I'm like, I've got to talk to my boy Paul. And then he got on the mic that night and was like, any Assyrians here? And we're like, oh, it was literally just us two. But we connected with him after the show. He had no idea who I was. Was very humbling because at this point I'm convinced every Assyrian knows who I am. So, I kind of gave him the rundown of what I've been doing. And I think I said, like, I'd love to collab with you in the future. And then sure enough, one thing led to the other. I kept sliding in the DMs and finally he was like, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago. Mind you, it was an hour away, which was funny. I cracked my own jokes about that. I told him, he made the mistake of asking me, like, tell me about your journey so far. And I literally sent him 20-minute freaking voice recordings. The poor guy, he was probably like, I wish I never asked. I have a big mouth. But he's like, hey, what do you think of doing 10 minutes at my show? And I was like, so I'd never done stand-up, like the traditional stand-up, like in the comedy clubs and to Nakhraya, to a larger demographic. It's mainly been Middle Easterners. So I was panicking and he said, take your time, don't answer now, think about it. And I said, okay, thank you. And for that week, my anxiety was on 100 because a part of me was like, just pull the trigger, just do it. But then the other part was terrified. And I was talking to my cousin. God, I wish I pulled the quote up. She sent me something that said essentially something along the lines of, don't worry about the end goal, just trust the process that God's taking you on, or trust the journey to get there. And I was like, okay, this is part of that journey. Like, first of all, phenomenal opportunity to do a guest set at Paul's show, right? Just that networking aspect. I was like, you can't miss that. But then also get up and do the traditional comedy that you've been wanting to do. So a lot of times I'm all talk, no action. But it's been moments like this throughout my journey where people will set something up for me and go, here you go, silver platter style. And I'm always scared to take it. But then I never regret it. So I was like, you know what? Pull the trigger. I messaged him. I said, let's do it. I'll do 10 minutes. And the whole time I was like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? So I literally went on Google. And I was like, Googled Batavia, Illinois. Like, where am I going? What are these people like? What kind of jokes am I going to make? And it was great. I got there. We were in the green room. I met him officially. I brought him a plate of baklava. I was like, I can't come spikta either. It's not, odd model. We have to bring something. So he goes, I'll never forget. He says, it's just cardio. It's just cardio. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's just cardio. And it felt like that. Like, you get the biggest rush when you're up there. The only thing, though, was if I get that footage from the comedy club, the Comedy Vault in Batavia, I was like this the whole time because the spotlights were in my eyes and I felt blinded. And my goal was go up there and do crowd work, have a bit to fall back on if it gets awkward. So I'm like, I need to do crowd work and I can't see the crowd. Like, this is an issue. So I'm going to look like a rookie with my hand over my eyes like this in the video, but I did it. It was phenomenal. Like, people were laughing. My jokes were very kosher, you know? Like, I remember the comedian that came on right after me was like, oh my God, this girl, like, what a rookie, what a virgin. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get roasted for this.
He gave you a bit of wisdom. I've been to Paul's shows, and I actually learned a lot behind the scenes, learning from him how his team and everybody manages. And it actually helped with what I do here. And so more so on the production side. But was there anything besides this is just cardio, more wisdom that he bestowed on you behind the scenes before you went out, after the show, feedback, anything to like you could pick up where you're like, that was really good advice, I appreciate it?
Just that sense of ease that he gave me. Like, you know, he was reassuring me, just go out there and have a good time. That idea of this is cardio, like that was just, I feel like, enough for me. And, you know, yeah, he said, you know, I did a good job. And again, the one that came on after me, in the game for 15 years, a phenomenal writer, like, you can tell the difference. But I got those laughs, and that was what I was proud of. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been so awkward. I could have bombed. And you know what? Maybe down the line I will. Like, it's not the end for me. You know what I mean? I want to go check out more comedy clubs in Chicago and just kind of throw myself out there on open mics. But I don't doubt that there won't be those moments, awkward silences, or moments where I will bomb.
So when you say the bombing, I actually think that it's a rite of passage for a comedian to bomb on stage. You listen to every single one of the greats. They've all had, even till this day, you can name some of the biggest names. They laugh about their experiences like, dude, I absolutely ate it on stage, even though like they have millions of followers already. So besides that, do you think there's a different rite of passage for a person such as your background? Because you came from doing sketches, right? That's in a remote area. You're by yourself. You can then just sit down, edit by yourself, record, redo, mess up, bloopers. But now you only have one shot. You're in front of a stage. So now, do you think there's a different rite of passage? Are you accustomed to it already? How do you feel about that?
I've always said this. I felt like I've been cheating the game when it comes to like doing stand-up comedy, like in the traditional sense. Like, I haven't bombed. I haven't gotten up there and got humbled by a crowd and then went back to the drawing board. There have been awkward moments during my shows, but it's never enough for me to be like, oh my God, that was horrible. So in a sense, and then I don't know, does that give me like the sense of like cockiness? Like, I know I'm naturally funny, but I'm also waiting for that moment because I want to feel it. I just feel like I've had a leg up in the game. Like, I haven't done it in the traditional sense like everybody else. And a part of me does feel like I want to experience it in that traditional way. You know what I mean? So I can say like I earned my dues, if that makes sense.
The traditional way is kind of shifting now because it's no longer go out, do shows, get recognized, go. It's social media is in. You've started from that point where that started. So maybe your path is the traditional and moving forward for the next 10 years. So does being a comedian with a recognizable name make it easier for you to have opportunities, or does it make it harder for you because now you're expected to always be Ramina Rated when you go out? So for example, I meet you, I have a place, it's easier for you to get through the door because I know who you are, Ramina. On the business and networking side, or versus if I'm a fan and I recognize you, I can see how that can make your life a bit more complicated. So has there been more benefits or negatives?
Yes to both.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold. Like, okay, yesterday we went out to dinner. Place was closing in 5 minutes. They took us because my friend said, hey, so-and-so's coming, and beautiful, right? So you get these like random perks, and the networking is insane. Yeah, I don't know who I'm going to be speaking to 1 year down the line. They know my name. They know of me, right? So yes, that's been amazing. But also on the flip side is like, I feel like people try to split the two, and this idea of like my personal life versus my professional life, and I feel like it's all become one now. Like, I don't remember what I was before Ramina Rated, if that makes sense. Like, that life I know is like, it's gone, it's done. Like I don't really see that as my personal life. Like, this all is a part of my personal life, if that makes sense. Like, it's all one.
Has business affected your personal life? So for example, I know your family travels with you. Your families are some of your biggest supporters. They're some of my favorite people when I see them, especially behind the scenes. But has their life changed? Because I could see your mom's traveling with you, your aunt's your manager.
So I think I worded that incorrectly. I feel like my business has become my life at this point. I think that's what I was trying to say. Like, personal life aspect, like even something as simple as hanging out with my friends, that doesn't happen often anymore. And I feel so guilty. There's always something happening. Or if I have free time, I'm like, I need to make content. If I'm not maximizing my time doing content, then I feel like I'm wasting time, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, I mean, my family's chilling. They love traveling with me. Like, my mom's like, every time I look at a plane, I'm wondering, where are we going next? And I'm like, really? Like, hey, mabsim. No, they love it. They love it. I take them out of their personal lives. It's like a little, we call it a vacation, but it's never a vacation for them because they're working my shows. But it's fun. We have a blast meeting fans. Like Toronto fans were insane. It wasn't a big turnout, but the people there reminded me of the people in Australia. Like they were so loving. And when that's the vibe, my jokes go like freaking just amazing. It was so smooth.
So when you go to these different places like Australia and Canada, do you have to tweak the way that you do your comedy or their sense of humor? Because in Americans, I think we can take humor in a pretty dark way, aggressive way. Like we have a different sense of humor, or no, because you're like, no, they're coming for me. They know what they're expecting. I don't have to change anything.
Yeah, I think it's more that. But also I don't really, I feel like push that envelope with my jokes live. Like I'm pretty like, you know, I don't really get to the dark. Well, I did in Canada. I did do some dark humor in Canada and it got laughs, thank God. That was one of those risky moments where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do this joke. It just came into my mind. And if I get shit for it, then I get shit for it. It was a risk I took. But essentially, I made like a funeral joke. Alam Pasali. But it was something so relatable that everybody was like, oh, it was like one of those like, oh, but then you're laughing. I'm like, okay, thank God they're laughing. My mom's there like, but no, from country to country, I don't really see a difference. I feel like what I would do though is focus on like, what are they known for out here? And capitalize on those jokes. So for example, Australia, when you see their weddings, they come in decked out in Jillet Khumale. And I cracked a joke saying like, you guys roll in so deep in Jillet Khumale. If you guys rolled up to Iraq, they'd probably give us Assyria back. And they bust out laughing. It was like one of those where they clapped after.
You know how I know that's a memorable joke? Johnson Ashak in a separate conversation told me about that moment. Yeah.
It was so good. I was like, damn, that really just happened. Like they clapped that out. Like, hell yeah, it stuck. So no, I feel like everybody knows what, they love me. They're excited to see me. There's never a time where one country is like, oh, they're parfait. I was told in some part of California, I can't remember, they're like, you know, we have kind of like a serious crowd, a serious community here. So if they don't laugh a lot at your jokes, like don't take offense to it, you know, like that's just how they are. The laughs were insane that night. I'm like, damn, am I that funny? Like that I got these guys laughing and you guys thought they wouldn't, you know? So I've been told like, hey, FYI or heads up, this is what this crowd might look like, but it's like knock on bricks. I've never had it be like, oh man, that was a bust. Like I should know better for next time.
This is the funny thing with Assyrians though. It's because we warn each other that people might not laugh at comedy jokes. Like that's unheard of. I'm a huge fan of comedy. I go to comedy shows all the time, not Assyrian, whatever. But like that's not a thing that happens where people warn you before you walk in. This joke might be offensive. Watch out. You know you're getting yourself into when you these shows you're buying a ticket to. Of course you know getting yourself into. I think though when you make those funeral jokes and when you make those darker jokes, that's needed within our community because we're too much walking on eggshells. And as a comedian, you have that leverage to go, hey man, I was just joking around. I wasn't serious. So you have that free way to expand our people's taste palette, if you will.
Or tolerance.
Tolerance.
I feel like we're so ready to jump down each other's throats. I mean, just go to my Facebook comments.
Yeah, mine too.
I always say my Facebook moms and dads are the most terrifying, especially when you click see translation. It's loading. You're like, oh God, what are we going to get? And it makes no sense, but you know what they mean. We love doing it. It kills me.
So now that you are more established since the last time we've spoken, you've grown 3 to 4 times fold in the last year and a half, which is extremely impressive. You're a more established name in the community than when we first spoke. What new obstacles do you face now, especially being a Middle Eastern woman in today's society who's in this industry of entertainment? What new difficulties have you faced back then versus now?
This is not an engagement ring.
It's just bling bling.
It's just bling bling. No, I do this to be funny because I'm still single and I think I shot myself in the foot for doing this. You guys, the sun is right in my eyeball and I don't know if you guys see me struggling here. I think it's only gotten easier. I think that before it was a struggle with my parents and maybe even other people. The reactions from the community was phenomenal at the time. And I always say like, Gabino, like why couldn't my parents be behind me when I first started? It took the community to be, you know, like that community approval for them to buy into it. But I feel like now I've just gotten so much love and respect from our community. And I see now other people start to, you know, pop up and try to do the content creating, or I feel like, not that I've normalized it just yet, but that they're getting used to it. They're getting used to seeing that. So I don't know. I feel love and I feel respect from people. The reason why I was going like this is I was saying earlier, I feel like I shot myself in the foot.
Yeah, why? Why do you feel that way?
Well, first of all, there are Harvard studies done on female comedians and how hard it is for us to date or find our significant other because of the way that the sense of humor is perceived via both genders. A female's perspective of a sense of humor or understanding of a sense of humor means that guy is funny. He's making me laugh. The male's perspective of a sense of humor is not, oh, she's funny. It's, is she laughing at my jokes? So
you're saying guys have more insecurities when women crack jokes?
I don't know. You called it an insecurity. I don't know what I'm going to call it. But essentially the way that a guy perceives it is he's not going to be like, dude, she's funny as hell. That's hot. That's a turn on. I'm attracted to her. It's, she's not laughing at my jokes. She has no sense of humor.
But what if you do? What if you do both though?
I mean, listen. Find me the guy that like is like, wow, she's
matches
hilarious.
Your funniness.
You know what I mean? Oh, I love that. And honestly, what I look for in a guy is a sense of humor first and foremost, because I would love to take a back seat and laugh instead of the one being, the jokester and making people laugh. This idea that I am a Middle Eastern woman who's doing something, I feel like I'm doing something it's a first in our culture, at least in the way that I'm doing it. We have other female Assyrian comedians. We have other female performing artists who probably would agree with me that it's freaking difficult. You're in the limelight. You're traveling a lot. Like, it's probably not the most, attractive idea of, who you want to spend your future with.
Yeah, well, I was speaking to my mentor about this. And he asked me this a very similar question on the lines of this, and he goes, do you think that you've ruined your chances with a lot of women because you put so many of your opinions out there? And then I go, no, I look at it more as a filtering process. Because now it saves me time from all of the women who are like, oh, I learned what this guy stands for. Half the things, you just saved me 50% of the people I would have wasted time with, right? So for you, I feel like that could also be a filtering process as well for someone who appreciates it. I could also see, though, as an insecure man, this woman is always on stage. She's in front of people, always posting. Like that could, but then again, you filter out those people. This is an attention-based economy, right? You get eyeballs, you get the followers, you get a career, you get opportunities, everything's attention-based. So now with, like, for example, apps like TikTok going away, right? But we're on YouTube, Instagram. How do we, or yourself specifically, as a comedian, distinguish yourself from the rest of the comedians who are all of a sudden forced to go on these apps? Because, for example, Joe Rogan, podcaster, Tony Hinchcliffe, he's a comedian. Joe Rogan's a comedian, but Tony Hinchcliffe has a show where he puts people on the limelight, spotlight, gives them stardom, opportunities for stardom. Freddie Gibbs is a rapper, but also a comedian. I know you're a singer, but is there something else besides that, or something else that you want to do?
I'm a singer?
Or maybe Yasmin is a singer.
I am a singer part-time. No, I'm just kidding. I cut you off. You were asking your question.
Well,
what do I have to do to distinguish myself or set myself?
Do you plan on doing so? Is that something that you want to leverage, or are you just going to stick with comedy?
It's a weighted question. I can't answer that because I don't know where God's taking me. I always say, like, God's with me on this journey, and it's been the most beautiful journey, and I don't know where it's going to head to. What I have in my sights right now is the traditional stand-up comedy that I'm, now dabbling in with Paul Elia first. Jack Jr. May 19th, I'll be opening for him. And I want to push myself to do more of that. But where do I see myself in like 5 years? I would love, like, I've always loved like the cinematic side of things, like the filmography side of things.
Production.
I would love to create a show where Yom is the main character. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to dabble into, we actually have a full movie script written out. I had my cousins work on it who both have film degrees. And we would love to record it and screen it like it's an actual movie that our community can go and see. Like that, I feel like that's going to be like the nice, like surprise, we're dabbling into this, but it's a lot of work, So right now we're stuck at a complete script, but like we need to get the ball rolling on filming. So it's bright ideas. Like I said to you last year, or what was it, 2 years ago? Jesus.
Year and a half, yeah. June 20.
Year and a half, September, I said, June. I've got this notepad full of ideas, and it's like, good luck if I get to it. This is another one of those things. It's like a half-finished project. I'm freaking notorious for that. But right now I'm loving the comedy. I'm loving the touring, meeting the fans. The content stuff has fallen off a bit. I've just,
Is it a fall off or is it a transition? Because I see you transitioning. Because opening up for people like Paul Elia and Jack Jr., that's not a step backwards.
Right. Well, I think I don't want to call it a transition because I don't want to leave the content. And I explained this to you last time where I feel like that is what kind of connected me with the fans a lot and also blurred the lines across cultures, which I loved. I love that random cultures were like, oh my God, this is so us. And we never knew. So we're learning about each other throughout the process of the content creating and the content posting. And I also really enjoy it. I love coming up with the concept and going, oh my God, this is going to be hilarious. Film. Can't wait to edit because I love editing. Like I love doing all of that. So I don't want to fully transition out of the content creation. But there's just been a lot going on where I'm wearing a lot of hats. And so some things do take a back seat while I'm focused on others, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Patrick Bet-David says it all the time. He says, first specialize, then generalize. Because once you have your specialization down, it's easier to put your hands in other cookie jars. And then because you have the capabilities and bandwidth and knowledge to do so.
Yep.
I want to go back to your family really quickly because like we said in the beginning, you guys travel a lot too, right? But they always say, the saying is never do business with your family. It's very ugly. I've seen it happen. It's happened in our family. And so most people don't want to do business with their family. What makes your family unique where you can bring them on? Why is your relationship with your family so tight-knit and you're able to do this?
Then are we tight-knit? We're so tight-knit. You're gonna make
She said too tight for the people that didn't hear that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna get emotional right now. I'm getting emotional. Yo, I'm sorry. I didn't expect that to happen. Guys, we got to take a break. I can't do it. Why are you making me cry, dude? I'm a comedian. I'm supposed to be laughing.
This has happened multiple times.
You're loving this?
Yeah.
Oh, you're known for this.
Yeah. You're not the first to cry.
Who was the first?
Emmett Bishop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I gotta go watch that. You're really good at distracting, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. My issue is if I get choked up, like I can't speak, like my throat closes up. So, and I'm an ugly crier, so we're not. Other than that, I've been blessed. I got it. Thank you. I've been blessed with. There's my Antiger, I call her my Antiger for obvious reasons, who's done everything and anything. And I've always said, like, I need to give you something. So at first we started a tradition of like gifting her something from each show. And that that fell off the past couple of shows. And crying again. Here we go. It's been a blessing. We're able to, well, don't get me wrong. We've argued on our trips because it's high stress. Like just this past show, and she's still apologizing to this day. But in Toronto, I'm getting ready. I've got the makeup artist, and my time management is shit. But things happened, and we dragged. Meet and greet is supposed to be from 7 to 8. We have the fans waiting outside the door, and foundation just went on. So we've got another 20 minutes of this. And she's like back and forth freaking out. Like they're here. We don't want to keep them waiting. And I'm the type, I'm a silent panicker. So I'm like, hey, Nan, like, it's fine. Look, they're here. They're here for the show too. So they're not going anywhere. Like we're fine. The show's not until another hour. We have time. She's going to take 20 minutes. All good. And she's like, okay. And then 2 seconds later, she's back with that same anxiety. And I'm like, okay, so we handle stress differently, just fine. But it's like one of those things, we have these moments where we literally will have a meeting after the show and be like, all right, so we're not going to do this moving forward. We're going to make sure we have that ready moving forward. So we're always talking and changing things up. It's literally, we learn as we go process. They're amazing. We argue sometimes, and them sisters, my mom and her will argue all the time. Like if we had a hidden camera in the hotel rooms that we stay at, that
might be a new series that you could start.
And I should. I've got a lot of stuff in my camera roll, actually. I might bust it out. But I'm so blessed that, one, my family could travel with me. Like, we've never done that before the shows. So we always say it's such a beautiful opportunity for us as a family because it brings us together for that weekend. Yeah. But then also that I have such an incredible team. We're, again, figuring it out as we go, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, that's exactly the same thing with me. My brother, my best friends, they always come with me. They're my videographer. They're my teams behind the scenes. And that's the same exact thing. I told them one day, I was like, when we start flying private, you guys are going to miss the days where an hour and a half traffic to get to our studios. These are the fun parts. The mess is the fun part.
It is. So it's the quality time.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebuilding, for sure.
So speaking of mess, touring has a lot of things to it, scheduling, all these things, right? But you tapped on it a little bit in the beginning. When you take time off, right? You went on a little bit of a hiatus recently.
I did.
We talked about it last night over dinner. And you said, I think you said 9 months you were gone for a bit. And when you take these breaks, this is me at least, I get frustrated and anxious when I'm not working. For example, I can't just take a vacation to take a vacation. It needs to be a podcast in the middle of it. It needs to be me writing something, scripting, whatever. When you take these times off, is it like, no, I need these times for my mental health, I appreciate these times off to recharge and rest? Or is it, no, I get this like a wave of anxiety if I'm not working?
What can I say? It's all the above. First of all, it was our Toronto show. We literally did the math. It had been 9 months since I had done a show. My sister gave birth in October, my first niece. I'm obsessed. Thank you so much. And so I remember it like yesterday. We dropped the Yasmin music video. Shit hit the roof with the Israel and Palestine conflict. Before that, the Baghdad fire happened. It was like whammy after whammy after whammy. And I'm a very sensitive person. I've been there before with our own people when ISIS was happening, and we tried to rally and do whatever we could. We did fundraisers, we sent money. So it was like all this stuff started happening, and I was like, oh, and social media got ugly, and I was like, oh. So I wanted nothing to do with it. It became like my joy, and so the place that I would usually go to express myself artistically and find joy, I now wanted nothing to do with. So I kind of took a step back from all that. I spiraled into a depression. I gained like 30 pounds in like 2 months. And that was a lot for me because my physical journey has been huge during these past 2-3 years too. So I was like, wow, I can't believe I set myself back now in that way. Like when my mental's down, I don't want to do anything physically. And also I couldn't bring myself when the world is going to shit and everyone's miserable and we see what's happening, people dying left and right. And I'm always on the side of humanity. I couldn't bring myself to go record and make people laugh. And I didn't think, and I know a lot of people, Emmanuel, at the time were sliding in my DMs going, hey, where are you? We need this. Hey, I'm tired of seeing this. I need to laugh. Where are you at? And I'm going, now I feel guilty because I was doing that for people during COVID, during quarantine, and I was told that over and over. And you get messages like, oh, this reminds me of my grandma, or you remind me of my mom who just passed away. You'll get those beautiful messages and what kept me going. But in those months, I was like, I physically cannot bring myself to do that. I was that down about it.
Sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
So it sounds like external events really do get to you.
Oh, yeah.
Things that you can't control.
Yeah.
So is that one of your, would you say, greatest weaknesses?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. My heart, my sense, the way that I'm very sensitive, absolutely is one of my greatest weaknesses. It's been one of the biggest lessons learned throughout this whole journey, too, is like, how do you learn to set that aside to keep business as usual?
Well, do you think turning off your phone and putting the news away and not checking it for a few weeks at a time is something that you could do to help you out?
Yeah, for my mental, absolutely. But then it's also like, it's a double-edged sword. You get back into it, but those people never stop. The trolls never stop. So here you are then appeasing the people that are DMing you saying, hey, like, yeah, okay, we know like times are tough right now, but like we need your content to get us through it. So you're like, all right, let me put that aside. Let me buckle down and make it. You post it, and then you've got the other, what I call what do we call them? Social media, the internet trolls the internet soldiers who are behind their screens and commenting and spamming. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I sent you an image of a story, right, with the couple walking into a village with a donkey. It's called the man, the woman, the donkey, the husband, wife, donkey, something like that.
Very creative title.
Yeah. The man walks in, the wife is riding in on the donkey, and the villagers go, oh my God, look at this wife. She's so selfish. So she's on the donkey. So the next town they roll into, he's on the donkey. She's walking. The villagers go, oh, look at this husband. I can't believe he's making his wife walk. The third town they walk into, they put the donkey on their back. And they're like, look at these idiots. They're not even on the donkey. You're literally damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. People will always have something to say. Yeah. And that stuck with me throughout the past couple of years. My friend sent it to me, and she's like, hey, because I'm always the type that's like, what do I do? What do I do? I've always had this like conflict of like, do I post something? Do I not? And then I'm like, no, you swore you were going to keep it joy and comedy only, right? But then you got all these people peer pressuring you.
Do you know what your last name means? I'm sure
My
you do.
last name means
in English.
Abdikisho of Christ.
The way people explain it to me, it's slave of Christ, right? Awed Odisha, the doer of Christ. So then, slave of Christ. When I had my first conversation with Patrick David last summer or last June, he told me, we're speaking of business advice about the trucking industry, and he told me, unfortunately, when you're an owner of a trucking business, you're a slave to the drivers.
Right.
The drivers are your key
that's
source.
your
That's your bloodline. Yeah. They're driving your trucks and making you that money. So I always keep seeing like slave of this, slave of that. I know that's like a crazy word to use nowadays. It's an extreme, but it's just a metaphor of saying, no. You're relying on these things. So in a way, when you're a content creator, yes, you should be doing your own thing, but at the same time, you're a slave to the audience, no matter what, right? That's been
my biggest struggle, because I'm always fighting it. And you'll hear my family talk to me about that too. They're like, well, this is what you signed up for. This is what you wanted. Exactly. And I'm like, but what, like, why am I being held to the standard? And I get it. It's like, my family's always telling me like, hey, this is what you signed up for. This is the industry that you're in. This is the game you have to play. And I can't stand when I feel like I'm playing a game. And I can't stand when I feel like I'm being forced now to do something.
But that's what this is, though. This is a game.
I hate that. I hate that, because to me, it was like, I'm doing this for fun. It's enjoyment. If people are enjoying it with me, beautiful. And that's what it turned into. But now that I've got, over 50,000 followers, that I have to now do X, Y, and Z. It comes with more responsibility, yes, but to be told, hey, now you're expected to do this, or what? You're a piece of shit human. I don't like that, because nobody really knows who I am. Nobody knows what I'm doing behind the scenes. And I don't like that everything has to be documented or thrown in your face on social media for people to be like, oh, okay, you know what? Oh, she made a post about that. She's good. We can cancel her off of our attack her
list. Yeah, but that's only temporary until the next thing comes up.
Right. So that's what I've been struggling to dealing with. I've been struggling big time dealing with that.
At least you're acknowledging that, because I've noticed that the people who are able to manage this aspect of the game the best are the ones who make it the furthest. Because
you're absolutely right.
What makes it that people quit is the external forces and the external words gets to the person, and then they self-sabotage.
Yeah.
So my advice to you would be to not read the comment section.
I know.
That's the toughest part for me too.
I try.
These guys behind the camera, they'll take the funniest comments that I get in my posts and they'll screenshot them and send to me. I'm like, stop sending me this stuff. I don't want to read any of it.
I've been there, done that. They literally do the same, and I'm like, guys, I don't want to see it. Like, I would rather not see it.
But that's the only time I see comments, when these guys send them to me.
It's tough. It's tough, because of course we want to look at our comments. It's part of, like, honestly, that's actually probably 70% of like the best time that I have is like seeing people's reactions to my video. I love reading people's reactions. But then you'll come across that comment, you're like, oh, I wish I didn't see that.
Right.
Especially us, if you're sensitive like me, we take it to heart, because at the end of the day, we're passionate about what we're doing. So we feel like it's not an attack on my brand. You're attacking me as a person. I'll never forget, somebody said, she's not posting about this. Oh, probably because she doesn't care.
I wanted to bring this up. So recently there was this, I'm not getting into specifics out of respect, but recently this attack happened. People were demanding that you say something, you post a story, and you say on that story, I'll let you explain it, go for it.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't that many people were bombarding me. I was on live and someone commented on it. And what I'm usually really good at doing is not acknowledging certain comments on live if I don't want to, because I'm live, right? But I literally had it up to here, because it was just tension building, and jarret. But I snapped, and I posted a story after saying I'm really, really tired of people doing that, of pressuring people or saying, why aren't you talking about X, Y, and Z? And it's as simple as, because I decided my page is not for that. And there are people that are talking about that. Everybody is doing you know what I mean? Like, everybody has their own niche. Like, if you want to go and look at news about what happened, there's a page for that. My page is for, comedy, for making people laugh, for literally a distraction from all of that. Mm-hmm. So I finally shared it, and that was a long post coming from me. It was irking me for years, honestly, ever since I started. But I finally said it, and the amount of responses that I got in support of it was like, oh, okay, so there was a reason why I promised myself I would keep it comedy only. A lot of people appreciated that.
Yeah, but I also understand it when people are trying to get you to say something because, for example, right, last time we met, you said the following: the Assyrian people, who I feel were always so down, and we've had such terrible history, and being able to put us back on the map, even if it's in a silly way, making people laugh. Now, it's not about woe is us and what we've been through in the past, but it's now let's celebrate our culture. So you're taking these aspects, you want to celebrate the culture, but you also say something here that, like you said, it might be contradicting because you say, I feel that we're so down and we have such a terrible history, but you want to put us on the map. So it's a double-edged sword for you because now you're at, what are you at, 60,000 followers around that sphere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram, yeah.
That's a huge influence. So it's a double-edged sword because you want to stick to the thing that got you there, but also you have the influence where you can put our people on the map by talking about these things.
Right. I have no response to that because I'm still going through that internally. Like anytime something comes up, I'm like straight to my friends, like I'm torn. My heart wants to post about it, but I've made this promise that I'm not going to. And so there's been moments where I kind of like broke that rule. Like, for example, I shared a fundraiser for the victims of the Baghdad fire because I was like, okay, this needs more outreach. They need more people to see it. So boom, one story post and people will see it. I've shared a fundraiser on my Instagram. I didn't realize that you could do that. You could literally tag a fundraiser to the bio of your Instagram. I said, why not? What's the harm in that, right? Yeah. Like it's there. I'm still internally conflicted about it because my heart is telling me to do one thing, which is, yeah, of course I want to share everything. I want to share what our struggles and what we're going through. But I also feel like I've become very pessimistic because I did that growing up. I did that as a teenager and in my early 20s. I tried to do everything that I could. We set up fundraisers in Chicago. We did random things to bring light to, go to the marches in downtown to bring light to our plight. To bring light to the plight. We did all of that stuff. And I felt like I was getting nowhere. I felt like it was doing nothing for our people. So I became very pessimistic, and it's one of the reasons I think I mentioned this in our last podcast. The reason why I started this, it was like a way to be like, you know what? I'm going to celebrate us. I'm not going to focus on the woe is me, and not to take away from that because real stuff does happen. We are still going through struggles, but I just feel like as a people, we just need to stop putting that on others. We just do. We need to stop putting that on others.
It can't be done by one person. It's going to be done by a collection of people who are like-minded, on the same page, have the resources and network to then create that big change. I think that's one of the reasons why you might be feeling a lot of that stress and feeling of like it's not worth it or like I'm not doing enough. You're putting too much on your shoulders individually instead of doing what you can do as yourself as one of the individuals in the group of people that can get things done.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I heard it in George Janko's podcast recently. He said something along the lines of, I care so much, which is why I'm quiet. And I know to a lot of people, especially in today's day and age where social media that's how you get your news. That's how you share the news. Hashtag this. And now we're supporting a cause. It sounds weird to say that your silence means you care so much, but I feel like literally it like cripples me so much that I want nothing to do with a post, a hashtag, because in my heart, and it might be a pessimistic point of view, I don't think that's doing anything for the people that are literally in that moment dying, whether it's from hunger or war or whatever. I don't feel like me hashtagging something is going to help. I don't. That's just how I look at it. And it feels very political and calculated, and that grosses me out. Yeah. That's why I take a step back. And like I said, George Janko said it perfectly, that he cares so much that he goes quiet. If silence means that's how much he cares.
Well, also, if you talk about everything, it waters down your voice for when things really do matter, because you can't know everything at all times. All the craziness around the world, right? All of a sudden, everyone became a political scientist. Everyone is an economist. Everybody is a war expert. You don't know these things. So if you voice your opinion on every single thing that's ever happened, instead of learning from people who can voice their things, that have all the information, then you just have a mess of everyone saying things that could be wrong or irrelevant. Things change over time. So I don't think it's a bad thing to hold off on commenting.
I just don't think it's not for me. It's just not for me. There are plenty of pages that will do it for you beautifully. It's not for me. And not to say that one person's pain is greater or lesser than another's, right? Like I shared somebody going through chemo recently. I shared their GoFundMe because one of my fans that I met at my shows asked me to. And I thought, you could do that. And mind you, now I've debated about this before. Do you open up the floodgates for everybody wanting you to share their cause, right? But I was like, you know what? You can do that. You can do that for this person. If your one post makes or breaks that person's life, it's not that deep. Just share it, right? Like, of course you're going to want to share it. So not to weigh, you know, pain. Share this person's, you know, chemo journey or cancer journey, and then share, you know, the war that's happening in the Middle East. They're two very different things, but I don't like to try to say one pain is greater than the other.
But you have a right to, because it's whatever you relate to the most that you feel that you can
I get what you're
contribute
saying.
help with.
You're saying I have the right to pick whatever cause I want to.
Yes, you have. Yeah,
yes.
it's your platform. It's your choice at the end of the day.
But right now, I just want to focus on the laughs, the joy. Go to, I don't know, Assyrian policy. I'm trying to think of these pages that have been posting about news, about our news. Go to them for that. Come to me for a laugh. You want to take a break? Just come to me for a laugh. And let's just keep it at that for now.
Yeah.
For now. Who's to say in 5 years, you know, I won't feel like I want to, you know what? I actually want to become an ambassador for Savina, for example.
Savina Davoud.
Who's constantly, it's E2T Institute. They're constantly posting, maybe I want to be a partner up with her. And then that'll be my avenue to giving back, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know, I've thought about it 100%. I want to get involved in that sense. But for now, this is how I'm viewing it. This is the trajectory that I'm going in. And I just want people to be okay with that. I think that's the thing that people struggle with, is they have something to say about it.
Whether you're a newlywed couple trying to design their dream home, or a person who's trying to impress their friends and family, or maybe you just want to make sure your mother doesn't walk into your kitchen with a disappointed look on her face, then Galleria Design Studios has got you covered. With 6+ years of industry experience, Galleria Design Studios offers highly customizable work that will suit your needs exactly the way that you want them. And they will work with you to make sure your dream designs come true. Start off with a complimentary measurement service and a 3D rendering of your space to get the process started today. And meet the team: Ashrid Sheba, Head of Sales; Yolanda Orellano, Lead Cabinetry Designer in Sales; and Maria Garcia, Designer in Sales. If you're ready to take your first steps in creating your dream home, get started today and visit www.galleriadesignstudio.com.
I have more I want to touch on with you, but I think right now is a good. I lied to you.
Why?
I lied to you last night.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. After dinner, I told you I didn't have a gift for you.
You got me a gift?
I have something very
Did you get it
special
after
for you.
dinner, though?
No, I promise.
So can we talk about this to the camera?
Sure.
So I was like, hey, guys, I want to take you out to dinner. And because Ebel, like, they're here for, you know, to interview me, like, I have to take them out to dinner. So, no, I actually wanted to. So we go. And we're having a grand old time, and the waiter comes around with the bill, and he sets it in front of him, and I'm like, no, but like nice, right? He opens it up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, just give me the bill. He's already signing his freaking credit card receipt. But you had Zelle.
She found my Zelle.
So single ladies out there, he does pay for the bill, if you wanted to know. Very nice gentleman, Allah. But no, we squared that away. So you got me a gift. Was it before?
I told her at the dinner I didn't have a gift, and so let me cover the bill. I lied to you very badly.
So that you can cover the bill. So I could be like, oh, you didn't give me a gift? Cover the bill.
So I came prepared in the wrapping. This is the.
Oh, we did not.
This is the hairdryer bag and from the hotel room.
Okay, you have to give that back.
They're
going to charge you for it.
You have to face it this. I'll give it back. Okay. You have to face it this way and open it up. So when I got this, I was like, listen, hold on. First I have to preface. This, I was like, this is exactly what I feel like me and Ramina's relationship is.
Aww,
it encapsulated perfectly for us, and I hope you.
Is this sincere or is it a joke?
No, it's very sincere.
Actually, he's messing with me. What is it? Can I guess?
Don't read anything on the box.
Don't read, okay.
Yeah, that's face down.
The Fugler? There's so many questions right now. I don't know where to begin.
It is truly one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
What are you saying exactly, Emmanuel?
It reminded me of my dog. They both have the same soulless look on their eyes.
So does this remind you of me or your dog?
It reminds me of how much I love my dog.
Aww.
And it has nothing to do with why. I just thought you'd appreciate it, to be honest with you.
I mean, the teeth are nice. You know what I will do with this, though? Thank you so much. I'm going to put this on my mom's pillow, and I'm going to record her.
Please make content
having a heart
on this.
attack.
And the real reason I gave it to you is because Fugler, I want a sponsorship. Give me a sponsorship. Let me be an ambassador for Fugler. This thing right here is truly one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's actually kind of cute. Like if you look at it like long enough and cross your eyes a little bit. Yeah, can I give you my gifts?
Oh, you got me something.
I got you more than one something.
Uh-oh.
I'm so excited.
Oh, those are the bags?
Yeah.
Oh,
so listen,
man.
Our
now I feel really bad that I only got you a fuggler.
You got me okay, so since he got me an incredible customized dish dasha last time, thank you so much. And we'll wait for that train to pass. So you got me a customized dish dasha last time. Yes. I didn't get you anything. I came in like my mom still calls me mushroom head. My hair looked a mess. So I tried. I mean, yeah, Rabba, I tried this time around. But I thought to myself, I need to treat you. So you came, and I was like, oh, he's in my hood. And you were at a cigar lounge. Mm-hmm. So gift number one.
No way.
Yes. I had to ask a lot of questions. You got to look at that. Brown.
Oh, no
Ramina
way.
Bag. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Oh, my God.
I know you have an event tomorrow. I was like, he's going to mups him off of these tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'm going to enjoy them before the event. What? This is amazing. Oh.
So it was an old guy in Skokie named Bob who helped me pick these out.
This is the first time someone's given me a gift on the show. I really appreciate it.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
Dude, this is amazing.
Yeah, so it's a humidor. 4 cigars. I said he doesn't like them flavored. Pick out the best. I don't know if those are I actually don't know. I don't know.
No, Macanudo is actually a really good brand. I enjoy it a lot.
Good.
One of my favorite brands called Macanudo Diplomat.
That's not in there, is it?
No, Macanudo's right here.
You.
This is a Macanudo Robusto. This is a 5-inch cigar. Okay. It's actually really good.
And then there's a lighter in that bag. That's pretty cool too.
All the Assyria G.
I tried to get my hand on some of those. Awesome. By the way, that would have been hilarious.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, okay. So you're welcome. You deserve it. Can I just say, before I give gift number 2, I'm very proud of you. I didn't say that at all during this because I was too busy talking, because I talk a lot. But I'm really proud of you. I've watched your journey since our last interview, and wow, knock on brick.
Knock on brick. Or wood. Here you go.
Right. All right, baby. Gift number 2.
Thank you so much. You did not.
I thought you're a distinguished gentleman. You carry yourself so well that you would like some scotch.
We got scotch and cigars. This is literally the best combination ever.
That's scotch, right?
Macallan 12.
Is it? Or whiskey?
Ooh. All right, I'm going to take 2 takes. This is whiskey. Just second take. This is scotch.
There you go.
So whichever I Google after.
There you go.
The clip I'm going to put in.
Oh, you're so smart.
Yeah.
Okay, and this one is the one I'm most excited about.
You did not have to do this.
And I'm really, really sorry for any inconvenience this causes on your flight back. Because I know how it goes taking stuff with you when you're traveling, but I bubble wrapped it. So I thought that would help. Here, just do a whole. You guys might want to get some, I don't know. You're going to want to open it and get a good angle on it.
Sure.
I did it myself, so it's probably not the best, but I thought it's a sweet gesture. And it's a nice summary of your journey thus far.
Oh, man.
Lazy intellectuals.
No way. This is cool.
Yeah, it is.
No,
cool.
This is really cool. This is every single guest that I've had on the show so far. This is one of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever gotten in my entire life.
You deserve it.
Oh, my
God. I'm so proud of you. I thought to myself, like, okay, I need to do something lazy intellectuals, something to capture his journey. And I hope I got everybody on there. I was like literally back and forth on your YouTube.
It looks like
sure I got everybody.
That's why you were asking for my thumbnails earlier.
I was like, do you have any thumbnails? Like, can you make this process quicker?
I thought you were just trying to make sure that I got my thumbnail game on lock for us. That's why I thought you were asking for them. This is so cool.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
You are so cool. I was putting that together and I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
I love it. I love to see your journey.
I'm going to give you the fattest hug after this.
The future looks bright, baby.
Future looks bright, of course.
Yeah. So I apologize to the fans out there that are waiting for Real Housewives of Assyria, either second season or the reunion. I tried to spend every hour of my day with my niece. So that's also been one of the reasons why my content has taken off. But I don't care because she's so cute and they grow so quick. So I'm one of those right now. Like, I'm that khalta. Like, that's my baby.
Good, I love it.
Like, I'm like chewing gum at weddings like this. You know, like that's what I'm turning into.
You need to become that because you need to encapsulate these characters that you're bringing to life, right?
They're a part of you. Personality disorder, yep.
What does Ramina consider a dream come true?
Finding a sugar daddy who can support me and my endeavors.
Yes.
Like, I'm talking like mansions upon mansions. This is a serious problem, you guys. I know Yasmin is a fictional character, but she is really seeping into my life, and I can't afford it. So it becomes an issue. But even in the way that like I act or expect things, like I'm starting to act really bougie in public. Like we went to a really nice resort in Mexico.
Yeah.
And it was all inclusive, and we even opted into like the butler like the higher club member status, and it wasn't enough for me. And I was like, oh, this is a problem, because like Yasmin is highly fictional and the most exaggerated scenarios, and you can't actually do that in real life because, you know, I don't have a sugar daddy. So you said, what is my dream come true?
What's a dream come true for you?
No, actually, somehow, as terrifying as Hollywood is, it actually does genuinely scare me for multiple reasons. Getting to that level, taking our people to that level, collabing with other influencers out there. So I'm obsessed with Inanna Sarkis, like obsessed with her. She's commented on a couple of my videos, and I've literally, if you go see my responses to her comments, like I'm a literal dork. Like I'm a loser. I'm like, yes, girl, like just stupid. Like she's gonna like it and we're gonna become friends. So dumb. I would love to collab with her because I know she loves literature. She writes. She did a podcast. She's acting. I would love to get my foot into the acting game. So, and like I said, the shows and producing and all that stuff, I'd love to get involved in that. But also, if that comes with a sugar daddy who is willing to fund the endeavor, yeah, of course. But sugar daddy that I actually love, because I am a romantic as well. Thank you.
Because I respect your opinion, and you could say yourself here, who in your heart currently do you feel is the #1 Assyrian comedian?
Oh, don't do this to me. Why are you doing this to me?
Because you're an Assyrian comedian. We got a few.
We do have a few. Like number one in what sense?
It
Like
could
the
be
funniest?
It could be the person who's whatever it is to you. Like whatever you. Okay, first let's qualify this. What do you consider a successful comedian?
If they're funny.
That's subjective, right? So then now
Yeah,
it's
okay,
whoever
fine.
you think is the
Following.
funniest. No, now it's whoever you think is the funniest.
It's so messed up that I think I'm the funniest.
No, that's like a confidence.
Like no, but like I'm not even that person. Like I'm not cocky. I'm not confident. I hate when people compliment me, but like I actually truly believe that I think I am, if not the funniest, the most adaptable. Like I could like when it's sink or swim, when I'm out there, I'm gonna make people laugh. Like even if my bits are bad, like it's gonna happen. Am I like being so cocky right now? But then again, like for example, Crystal Marie Dinha, who I really want to meet, I really want to collab with. She's freaking hilarious, but I haven't seen her often enough to be like, yeah, she's the funniest.
Gotcha.
Vincent's hilarious too, but he's a certain cup of tea hilarious. Like he might not be, you know, funny for everybody's taste. Like you said, it's
Assyria.
okay.
Do you think Assyrians can be an independent, or Assyria can be an independent nation again?
I mean, that's the dream, right? I am not a foreign policy maker. I hate politics.
No, whatever you say right now will be set in stone forever, and it will go down on record.
Yep.
And it will be if we have Assyria or not.
We will have a country one day. I hope I'm alive to see it. I don't know what it would take to get there. I do know for a fact it would probably take us to stop arguing over the small, stupid things. So to answer that question in a very surface level way, if we rallied up, and it's so funny, we actually asked my grandpa this question on our way over here. We were on FaceTime with him, and he's like, if we stop fighting over the dumbest things, and we put some hona in our heads, and we unify, then God knows where we would go.
What's the first step you need to do to get to that point of stop fighting?
I think it starts in the families. I think it starts at home. I think these old, the drama that we have and these old grudges that our parents carry and they instill in their kids, I think it starts seeping generation to generation. And then sure enough, you find freaking 15-year-olds fighting about, are we, or show up yarcha? And it's like, what do you know about anything? What do you know? So it's like things that are being heard at home. But then also just like the silly stuff. Like we're all Suraya. That could mean so many things. We fall under so many names, which is fine. Let's not get hung up on the names. But if we all come together collectively and be like, hey, we're one person with one agenda, let's do it. But good luck, because we are many people with many organizations with many agendas. And so it could be a good thing. It could be something that bites us in the butt. So far, it's too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah.
Not enough, yeah.
Too many Assyrians, not enough.
Too many.
How do we do that for us?
Too many bosses, and not enough palache.
There you go.
But we do. We have so many palache. We do. We got the what I call the soldiers, the people doing the work on the ground. But it's like it sucks because they pour their lives into it, and for what? Like lechman tuye. Why? Because when we get to the very top of it, and again, I stay away from all the drama, all the politics. But when we get to the top of it, who's running the show?
Yeah.
Who's running the show? Good luck. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room.
What do you
Can you imagine if they're like, hey, we're giving you a plot of land in Iraq. Here it is. Who's stepping up?
Do you think it actually should be in Iraq?
Ooh.
Let me ask you a question.
That is controversial.
Let me ask you a question. Would you move into a neighborhood where everybody in that neighborhood hates you and wants to rob you every night?
That is the question, and you're essentially alluding to: would you go if we had in Assyria? Would you move back? No, I wouldn't. No, and also I wouldn't want to go to. Let's start there. I would not want to go into a neighborhood where I was fearful for my life. No.
So what I really was trying to get at is, for example, why would we reestablish a nation where in every single corner of the borders, the enemy
is there?
Look, I'm not getting political. Look at Israel, for example.
Yeah, I don't
historically,
know much about this, honestly.
Historically with Israel, they were attacked on every single front between the 1940s and the 1960s on every single side from the north, east, south, and west. So they have American backings, right? I'm not expecting your input on these parts.
I stay out because, again, I am not educated in this stuff, so I have no opinion on this.
But just from my perspective, Israel has America's backing 100%, right? And they're still attacked from all fronts constantly. Look what's happening now. Billions of dollars we've given to them, and yet they're still facing war. We realistically have no bargaining chips on the table if we were to go back into that region of the world and establish a country. So now you want to establish a country where, yes, that land belongs to us 100%. I'm not saying it doesn't. We don't have a right to it. But the reality is that nobody's just going to hand that back to us. Right. So instead of thinking one step forward and saying, hey, that's our land, we belong to it, great, how are we going to get it back with muskets and sticks?
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic. Plus, you're putting people's lives in dangers. Well, you know the beautiful thing? I'll get very serious with the comedian right now. It sucks the fact that our people were spread around Borbize, around the whole entire world.
I have something to say about that.
But also, it's a beautiful thing because now no one can ever genocide the Assyrians ever again because we're everywhere.
And also, there's a little Assyria anywhere you go. Mm-hmm. That's the silver lining. I always try to look at the silver lining of a situation. Okay, we don't have a country, and that sucked. Even growing up, where my friends were like, "Yeah, I'm going to Croatia. I'm going to my country for vacation." I'm like, "Damn, we don't have that."
Yeah.
But we have little Assyrias all over the world. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that even though we're in diaspora, we're able to create pockets of communities that are preserving our language, preserving our culture, our religion. It's a beautiful thing to see us thrive. It's like the rose on the, I'm messing this up, forgive me, Tupac. What was it? The rose on the concrete?
Yeah, the rose to the crack of the concrete.
Roses in the cracks of concrete. You know what I'm saying? Put that in a book, put that on a t-shirt. Yeah.
There's a young girl watching right now. She doesn't know what to do with her life. She's lost. She's looking.
How young is she?
Let's say she's 16.
Okay.
She looks up to you, watches your videos religiously. What's the best piece of advice you have for her?
Don't stop believing. No, don't be scared. Just do it. Just do it. And don't think about what people will say or what. Don't read the comments.
She's thinking of shoplifting right now.
Shoplifting is not it. That's not the answer.
You said just do it, though.
Just Nike. Just
don't do that.
Do it. But do it right. Do it within the Lord's will, God's eye. No, in all seriousness, what words of advice do I have? Life is very precious, and you only get one shot at it. And so if you don't try, you'll be like, damn, what if? And you'll live with that regret. So accept the failures as they come, accept the fear as it comes, but just literally just do it. And please don't put me on a pedestal. I also want to say that for the record. Stay in school, don't do drugs, but also don't look and say I want to be like her, because I'm not perfect by any means. When you say that, it scares me a little bit. It's so flattering and it's so beautiful, but it scares me a little bit because I don't think I ever wanted to be that for people.
You know, I never thought of that way for my show as well, but one thing that someone told me, they pulled me into the side one day and they said, I really appreciated your interview with Marawa because you were a voice for all the people who couldn't be in that room for us. I never thought of it that way. I thought I was like, no, I'm just the dude with the camera and a mic just talking to him because I want to learn something. But they were like, no, you were a voice for all the people that weren't in the room.
It's crazy the way that people put it in perspective for you.
So that I can only imagine how people project themselves onto you. Yeah. I'm going to name.
It's heavy, man.
I'm going to say a name. And I want you to give me the first thing that comes to mind, rapid fire, okay? Just the first thing that comes to mind.
First thing that comes to mind?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm really bad at these.
Good. It's going to make it funnier. Shit. Paul Elia.
Oh, funny.
Georgienko.
Hilarious.
Patrick David.
Rich.
Larsa Pippen.
Oh, God. Miami. Real Housewives.
Benil Dariush.
Fighter.
Jay Isho.
Singer. Wait, sexy. Latino, multifaceted, multi-language man. Okay.
Ramina Rated.
Oh, such a mess. A hot mess.
That's how we end it. Hot mess. Ramina, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
For making the time. Thank you for everything that you've given me. And I'm very excited to see what part 3 of our conversations will look like.
Likewise. I'm so proud of you. God bless you and God be with you through your journey.